In this Baldur's Gate character review, we're going to be exploring the Blade, a subkit, a subclass of the Bard. Essentially a duelist type character, taking the Bard class and really putting it in a very, very interesting and different direction. But with a duality that, in my opinion, kind of takes away from one of the primary things of the Bard. Now, I'm just going to focus on the narrative of the Bard for a moment to put this framework in. I've covered the Bard primary class, push that up to the channel here under the BG playlist. But essentially a Bard in Baldur's Gate is a character class that does a little bit of everything. So you've got some rogue skills, thief skills, you've got some fighting skills, you've got some magic skills, you've got some unique Bard skills that represents your lore, represents your knowledge. That kind of pulls all together so you can add a little extra weight to the party wherever it's needed. And the Bard is a character that has the ability for Bard song, the ability to inspire, the ability to sing that will cast different effects while they're singing. And some of these are straight up buffs or like the Jester, kind of a magical type effect. But in exploring the Bard from the Blade perspective, it's very, very toned down. Now, there's still the song, there's still the inspiration. It's going to grant a +1 luck bonus. Now, the +1 luck bonus is interesting in the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons system in that it applies to a variety of situations. It's not just straight up. It's very, very nice to have. And while that song is playing, it can't necessarily be stripped away. But a +1 luck bonus, it's not as extreme as some of the other Bard songs. But the very focus of the Blade is sword fighting is getting up there, kind of like a fighter, kind of like a paladin, kind of like a barbarian, maybe like a monk, but from a different type of perspective. So I find when I'm playing the Blade, I'm never singing the song. Now, +1 luck, that's kind of where it hangs out at. I'm not really losing that much. If I'm in a place where I guess I could play a support Blade where my magic, the magic ability I have, the mage spells, and my song will be the primary focus. But then I'm missing out on the combat capabilities of the Blade, which with combination with the spell abilities of this Bard subclass is really what I want to leverage. So I kind of feel like this is one of those character classes where you lose out on the song, but it was never really that great to begin with. So let's talk about the Blade with 2-weapon fighting, the ability to utilize that. So right away, it kind of fits this idea of a duelist, of a sword fighter, of that kind of image, that kind of narrative. So yes, we're going to go dual wield. Not giving away any spoilers, there are some very interesting medium and light weapons throughout the game. So to be able to utilize 2 of those, that's got some bite. That's really, really interesting. So going 2-weapon fighting, while you're never going to get the extreme armor class, which at some point armor class kind of, I won't say becomes useless, but kind of negates itself very, very fast in BG based on what you're fighting, based on what you're dealing with. At that point, I feel like the fact that you would be giving up a shield, say if you were a fighter or paladin, sword and board, 2-weapon fighting has a lot of possibility. So the Blade, to go in that direction, absolutely we're going to utilize it, and you can focus on that. Now you also have the offensive spin and defensive spin. These are going to increase your attack damage, they're going to increase your attack ability, or they're going to increase your defensive ability. So from right there, you have the ability to kind of speed up or defensive yourself up and go into combat, combined with 2-weapon fighting, combined with buffs as a magic user. That's got some bite. That really has a lot of fun and a lot of bite. Now, the Blade itself, what I find, it's not a primary frontline fighter. It's not heavy armor, barbarian, fighter, berserker, blackguard, paladin, where I'm just going to go up, charge in, and kind of anchor the mob, right? Baldur's Gate, it's a role-playing game, absolutely, but it's also kind of a combat system where you want to send out one or two tanks to anchor on the screen to pull in monsters to that point. That's going to clump them together. That's going to allow you to attack with other characters or drop various effects and area type spells to utilize that. That's also going to free up space, right, on the screen. That's going to free up space so that mage in the back or some long-range monsters in the back or something that you have to get to, you can quickly move around or possibly move around. So from that perspective, yes, the blade is not a character class that's going to run up and anchor in the middle. You could. I don't know how long you're going to last. The blade is more like a surgical strike where you're going to utilize the two-weapon fighting. You're going to utilize possibly some buffs. You're going to utilize the offensive spin to attack a target of worth, a target that you're like, I need to engage this and take it down. So I would send out my tanks, anchor point in the middle, playing the blade as the primary tune or utilizing a blade character. I'm going to run up along the side, outflank, or take out something very, very specific, very, very fast. The blade hits hard. The blade can throw down a lot, especially with that two-weapon fighting and certain magic items and certain war gear. Very potent, very fast. But it doesn't have the armor class, and it does not have the staying power of a fighter or a warrior type class or a paladin. But then again, that's not what the blade is. So yes, it's a bard, but it's kind of not really a bard. And you have to be ready to lose that bard song. But then again, the +1 luck bonus is kind of cool, but it's not legendary. It's not groundbreaking. It's not like you have some of the other bard songs, which at that point would really give me a cause for pause for the blade, because I'd be like, I want to be singing this tune. I want to be inspiring, but at the same time, I want to be utilizing my defensive or offensive spin and my two-weapon fighting ability.